Hello, Warriors. How's everyone doing? I just want to update us quickly on what we did and what we talked about on Monday. If you recall, I had a few things that I had some conviction on. It was the second week in a row that I talked about trading the oil from the short side, which, a lot of people fail. With the market in backwardation, it's not exactly that, the odds are in your favor, especially with all the news and the energy crunch that's happening here. But, even in strong bull markets, every once in a while, a healthy pullback is necessary for the trend to consolidate before it moves towards new levels. I was not in the camp that we'd see $100 this year. Of course, I reserve the right to change my mind, and I was given that right by God, and also taught that by W.D. Gann. Because if you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left. So just getting back to WTI is the first example. I talked about being short Monday. Okay, I was pretty early. In fact, it was Mike who hit these candles on the nose with his midday Monday fade. So even though I was short early, a little bit above 84, there was still a nice amount of pips here, 70, 80 pips. Then I tried the first rally again here. So I got partial profits here, and then I had partial profits here. Okay, so I sold the first rally thinking it could be a failing rally. It did pull back and then got stopped out on my second half after taking, I think, 80 on that one. And then yesterday I started thinking this also could be a failing rally, and we've had a much nicer break from these levels. So you had several opportunities to short the market. So far, 3 for 3 this week. Crude's trying to come back here. This 83 level is going to be real important. If we take out 83, I think we're heading for 81. So I still remain negative, although what we need on the weekly, and there are a few days left, would be closes under 82.47 to give us a 2-week reversal. But to me, it looks like it's rolling over and we start closing under 83. I have a couple of, I call these speed lines that, can project where a market could go to. The speed line is projecting about 77.5 that the crude could get to. And this speed line a bit lower, coming in just a little bit above 75, which is an interesting area because if you go to the daily, you have a lot of confluence. Maybe we just go the 4-hour. Yeah, the daily. You have a lot of confluence with this moving average coming in here, the 50, coming in up there around a little bit about 76. And remember, we had this little 2-day pullback and a shade under 75, 74.99 was the lows. So this could be a nice little target for energy. If it does it this week prior to the Fed, may give the Fed a little leeway as far as how much on the taper they're going to begin to taper. Is it going to be 10, 15, or 20 billion would be kind of hawkish, and the Fed could regain a little credibility. If they went with 20, they could get it all done in 6 months and then consider rate increases. So with crude acting heavy and toppy, even though Mark Chandler says Canada is not a petrocurrency, and the dollar has bounced pretty good, starting to fail a little bit here. Talked about this 3 drive to a bottom move in Canada, and if you bought Canada on Monday, you picked up about 70 pips right here. The BLC, I believe, is going to make a decision today. I don't like to be in the market for central bank decisions, although it could, if they aren't hawkish, we could continue. I still think that eventually we could see 125 again, the whole breakdown that we have here in USDCAD. And the last pair I talked about, and it was my way of playing the ECB, if you go back to Monday's video, is a contrarian trade in the euro pound. And Monday we were trading right around here at 84.30. And, let me do a little teaching here. So we took out all the stops, right? But on the 4-hour, you see the RSI reading compared to where it was here, pretty glaring, right? So we had glaring divergence on the 4-hour at new lows yesterday near 84. Pretty good divergence on the 2. And the daily put in what I call is a hammer. I would sing if I had a hammer. You guys want to hear it? If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out justice. I'd hammer out freedom. I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Everyone get a hammer so we could hammer out some justice and freedom and start treating each other better. So euro pound, you have some pips made even if you bought it. You got about 30 pips made if you bought it Monday. And here we are looking at a 2-week reversal. If by Friday, and look at this weekly candle, getting perhaps a nice outside week to the upside after shaking people out, same thing that euro pound did. You had this is the euro pound, the USDCAD, same type of shakeout that we had here. But the euro pound will have a 2-week reversal closing over 84.31. Okay, 84.31 will give us a 2-week reversal. I think there are a lot of people short. This is a weekly. So, a lot of people have been bullish a pound, bearish euro. So, if the euro pound unwinds, that could add some strength to euro. Euro up 19 today, holding where it has to. And I think the euro still has a shot for a nice little rally being led by euro pound. And cable looks a little heavy here. So this may just be beginning. So between WTI, which has worked, and you've had several opportunities to try and trade it, and euro pound and USD CAD, they were all forecasts that manifested in a couple of days. So we'll see what type of follow through. Tomorrow's the ECB, and we'll see what kind of follow through we get in euro pound. And still think it, a lot of people say, well, I'm late. Well, if I'm right, you're not late, because if I take a look at the daily, just a rally back to this, looks like it's a wedge line, but it's actually the 200-day moving average. And that's going to come in right around 86. So that's still 160 pips. We get through 86, we're going to have a pretty good run. And, that could be back to, major breakdown, 87, 88. For now, I'm calling this, nice, sharp bear market rally that we're going to get there. And it's similar in crude. I'm bullish crude, okay, long term. But, I'm not against, trading what I see. And, we've been diverging in the energy market for a while. There were some nice trades last week. People have asked me on the YouTube, well, Dale, you're only playing the short side. Why don't you get long? It has intrinsic value. Are you afraid you'll get caught? And it's because I think there could be a pretty good break. I mean, I'm a buyer down at around 70. I think that would be an excellent long-term buy if that developed. A lot of people don't think it could, but we're way above a lot of moving averages here. And even the weekly 9-day, where's that coming in? That's at right here, 76. And then if we take out 76, we could have one more flush. So this too, that's counter trend. Canada could be counter trend, but we could have a nice move. Maybe if the dollar is going to turn and break out, we could see 131. But when I was talking about it here, 135 looked like what we were going to do here. I'm looking at the S&Ps, and I covered NASDAQ near the lows. I haven't talked about any shorts yet, but I have to admit that we're getting a little long in the tooth in the S&Ps. We're not confirming on the daily. Actually, the NASDAQ has been weaker up until today. NASDAQ just touched the old high compared to the S&Ps have taken it out by 20 handles. But I'd be careful because there could be a little pullback. I think a lot's going to depend on the aggressiveness or lack of by the Fed next week. I think we have a lower GDP print. I don't think the S&P's top before they trade in the mid 46 to 4,700 level. And I'm thinking more like December and possibly stretch it out until March after the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. So that's my look in stocks. And you could tell there are a lot of FANG stocks, the old FANGs, not the new FANGs that Michael Venezia talks about, that really aren't performing that well. You take a look at Apple. So NASDAQ 100 made new highs. Apple's, retracing so far. That's all it looks like. Microsoft has been the monster, and it's gapping up again today. Glad I'm not short that. Netflix has been a real nice performer, but if you look at it, it's not ideal, but it is a 3-drive formation. Amazon not close to the highs. So, keep in mind NASDAQ 100 attained the old highs, and look at how many FANG stocks are not even close. If we go for another month or so, I don't think Amazon will make a new high. Maybe it just fills this gap at 35.85. Of course, we all know Tesla. Certainly glad Mike Venezia talked me out of buying puts down here when it was just grinding. So, we're in a parabolic phase. We all know what's happened to Facebook. It's gone a lot lower than when I covered it in early October. I think, when I covered my NASDAQ 100, triple Q bearish SQQQ position. Maybe it digs in its heels, had good earnings, but it's tainted now. So, money's going to find itself going elsewhere, but you still can't rule out if we get, say, 16,000 in NASDAQ 100 for Facebook to try and fill this gap, or some type of fib retracement from here to here up near 350. Google's still acting okay. It's trying to make a move back to the old highs. I think Google has a chance to make a new high. Maybe that'll be the 3rd drive. 1, 2, 3, we'll see. And I also want to talk about what's happening in metals. So we had a pretty good down day in the gold yesterday, although it recovered. And as long as the yen is heading down, which I started to doubt again, but now looks like it could happen. I thought we might trade down towards 112.50, right? And we had this little bounce first, so we still can. And I'm thinking that this is going to be a buying opportunity. I don't think this is a high. Maybe another 100 pips to the downside. I'll become interested in getting long US dollar yen. Yields continue to sell off. So, we'll see what happens down here at about 148. Has been a real big level, 142. So when the yen bottoms and yields bottom, that should be the end of the precious metal rally. Silver is acting a little weaker than gold here. What my ideal scenario would be calling this in silver the neckline right here, say around 24.5, if we don't get through here. And if we just work lower down towards 23 to 22, we could put in a right shoulder and look for something to the long side in the metals. And what was impressive is you had silver down like 60 cents and gold down 18 bucks or so. take a look at the miners really didn't give back much on that sell-off yesterday. I mean, you look at Goldfields was actually still higher on the day. So the opposite's starting to happen. And Michael and I were taught that the share should lead the underlying commodity. So even with the metal sharply lower yesterday, you know, there wasn't much as far as losses yesterday. Here's yesterday's candle. Not much compared to what happened there. So they're giving it back, having a hard time giving it back. So we will need like a 116 yen and one more good break in the metals to get my buy zones. I like SILJ and AG, but not here. I'd be looking for some type of pullback under 13 to worst case scenario 12, but this 1250, there's a little gap here. So if the yen can rally up towards 116 and a half or so, we should get one more pullback here in the metals, but I'm looking for higher lows across the board, higher low in GDX, maybe back down around 31. And for Yamana, maybe back around 410 or 4. But they're all looking pretty good to me. Newmont, I don't think we'll make a new low. You know, maybe we hold 55, something like that. I'm just looking for a higher low. So it's going to be interesting to see, should we get more weakness in the gold after the Fed, whether or not these miners put in higher lows. Right now, I believe that they will. So we have a great interview, you know, our monthly visit, Adam Button at FX_Button at Forex Live will be with us tomorrow. He is going to talk about what could happen in the month of November. Last month, he was looking for a stronger dollar, kind of, you know, when we broke out at 93.5. We really only had a 100-point rally before this pullback. I still think there's a chance we're going to take out this breakout, this pretty negative day we're getting in the dollar. And, you know, that's because the euro is showing strength rather than pound. So if there's more left in euro to the upside, you know, this 117 level I talked about last week could be achieved. And this is going to be real important. 1750, if we get a rally, we get over 117.50, then the dollar has longer term problems. So any questions from anyone here in our attending in the main trading room for me before I say goodbye? Anything? Gold or Brooke or Surfs, any questions? If there are any questions on YouTube, Diego, can you text them to me on Skype? I'd be glad to field them. Okay. All right. So everyone have a great day. Good luck with the ECB tomorrow. And I'll be here with Adam and we'll, you know, be post ECB. So we'll have some ideas what they did. And Adam's going to give us a seasonal outlook for the month of November. The only saying I can remember that applies to November is this: Thanksgiving, bears feast on Thanksgiving, bulls feast on Christmas. So we'll see. That usually means some type of sell-off into Thanksgiving. So if you're short, you're very thankful. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Hope you enjoyed my little rendition of If I Had a Hammer. And we'll see you all tomorrow to talk to Adam and see where his head is at and what's on his radar. Adios, everyone. Good hunting the rest of the day. Join us here at TradeGATEHub. It's a great community that's beginning to be built. Come be a pioneer with me. Adios.